There's the kick. It turns. It turns. It is no good.
One of the biggest records in the history of college football, period.
All alone as number one in pro football history in touchdown reception.
This ball game is over. You can wrap it in maroon and white. Mississippi State Bulldogs are the champions of the Southeastern Conference.
Here's the 2-2.
Pointed right at the first baseman, and that's an easy play. Oh, he missed it! How in the world did that happen?
Pitch to Winder. Here comes Sammy. 13 yards and a dive for a touchdown. 80 yards and 14 plays. Watch it again.
Welcome to your Mississippi Sports Hall of Fame and Museum. I'm Robin Carlin, and I grew up right here in Jackson, Mississippi. I was an athlete, I was a sports fan. As time went on, I realized that sports were more than just something to do or watch. They were actually a passion of mine. So I pursued a career in sports journalism. I've met players, coaches, and fans from around the globe. I know that everyone loves their team, and every athlete has a special story. But there's just something different about Mississippi.
So, just what is it about Mississippi? The little state is birthplace of American music. Rock and roll, country, and the original blues all took root in the Magnolia State. We are home to some of America's greatest writers. We have produced icons of the film and television industry. But we can say confidently that American culture has been shaped in no small part by Mississippi. Perhaps the most incredible contribution the Magnolia State has made to American culture is in the world of sports. Mississippi has given more than our sparse, largely rural population suggests is possible. And for Mississippians, the field of play has been a stage for community, pride, joy, and unfortunately, sometimes heartache. While on the surface, sports draw lines of division, Mississippians know the deeper truth. Sports give us a common language with which we tell tales of unity, particularly in times of division. Your Mississippi Sports Hall of Fame and Museum was opened in 1996 to ensure that the legends and the lore of Mississippi will live on long after the game is over and the players have left the field. We are a gathering place for the generations to share their heroes with one another. We are here to celebrate the remarkable role Mississippi has played in the world of sports, and it's remarkable.
Drops back to throw, launches it down the right side. Rice is there. Oh my! A one-handed catch! One of his
Jerry Rice,
catches.
from Tiny Crawford, is the game's greatest receiver, owning the record as the National Football League's all-time leader for both catches and touchdowns. Before lifting 4 Lombardi trophies, Rice lifted Mississippi Valley State from obscurity into the national spotlight, bringing reporters and cameras from the largest American cities into one of its smallest towns, Itta Bena.
Formation, quick pitch to Walter, looking for the record, cuts back, he's got it, he's out of it at 25 to the 26-yard line. Walter Payton becomes the National Football League all-time leading rusher.
Walter Payton of Columbia down in Marion County is pro football's second all-time leading runner. And long before he was a Chicago Bear, he was a Tiger at Jackson State and a Wildcat at Columbia High. Nicknamed Sweetness, his grit and strength were forged literally on the banks of the Pearl River.
Many experts consider Walter to be the most complete football player of all time.
He is a standard by which the NFL measures a man off the field as well. There was the inspiring career and the heartbreaking end of Steve Air McNair of Mount Olive, who gained more yards than any player in college football history. He put tiny but proud Alcorn State on the cover of Sports Illustrated. Hand him the Heisman, the magazine's cover demanded. He finished 3rd for the Heisman and then went on to an all-pro professional career. And then there's Brett Favre, the gunslinger from the Kill. He retired as a 3-time NFL MVP and the league's all-time leading passer. The son of a football coach and a school teacher, Brett grew up on the banks of a swamp called Rotten Bayou, having started an unheard of 321 professional football games in a row over 19 seasons. He played with a flair and a passion unmatched in the big business era of the NFL.
And then there's the patriarch of football's first family, Archie Manning, from the Delta town of Drew.
Archie was the boy next door All-American at Ole Miss, a Huck Finn in pads. As splendid a football player as he was with Ole Miss and in the NFL, Archie has become even more famous for his quarterbacking sons, Peyton and Eli Manning.
Those 5 athletes, all from towns of fewer than 7,000 folks, represent all parts of
The Gulf Coast, the Piney Woods, the Delta, the Golden Triangle, and they are just the tip of the proverbial iceberg. Mississippi also produced Bruiser Kennard, Jackie Slater, Lance Allworth, Shorty McWilliams, Ray Guy, Kent Holt, Willie Brown, Lem Barney, D.D. Lewis, Charlie Connerly, the famous Poole brothers, and so many more. Perhaps we should leave it to football's patriarch to try and explain.
I'm thinking about Walter Payton and Jerry Rice and Brett Favre. I think all 3 of them are just such special people, special athletes. You go back and look at the 3 of them, all from the state of Mississippi, all from small towns. I don't know, I think there's something to that. It wasn't organized practices that necessarily got them there. It was in the backyard, pickup game in the gym, to play ball, play basketball, creating your own kind of games in a field or something. That's kind of what went on in that era. I still tell kids to get out in the yard and play rather than, I know you go to practice, but I think you got to do more than that. So all 3 of those guys were mighty good, and it's, I know I take a lot of pride in being from Mississippi and being from the same state as those 3 guys. I think it's a credit to Mississippi.
While these triumphs in football are impressive, they're just the veneer of the state's greatness in athletics. The actual connection is so much richer and more complex.
There was a time when college baseball was played before small crowds, even though there was no charge for admission. Mississippi led the transformation of baseball games into a passionate happening. Ron Polk at Mississippi State created a baseball program that spawned today's excellence across the SEC in baseball. Players named Clark, Palmero, and Brantley, along with a loyal fan base, helped cement college baseball as a staple in Mississippi and across the South. With Polk and the Dogs leading the charge, college baseball has become big business with packed stadiums, televised games, and luxury suites.
Boo Ferris, he's seen that transformation firsthand as a player, then as a coach, and now as Mississippi's greatest baseball legend.
Oh, I get excited talking about the growth and expansion of the game. It's just amazing how prominent the game has come all through the nation. I never dreamed in my early years at Delta State in the early 1960s. I scheduled, and most schools were 22 games back in the early 60s. The future didn't look really too bright. I think Mississippi would rank higher. I think we draw more fans and all than so many places do around the country. And the SEC is a great conference, a strong conference, and it shows in World Series, the College World Series participation and all. The winners come from Southeastern Conference. I think we've got a lot to be proud of right here in our own state.
If football is our religion and baseball a passion, then perhaps basketball is our profession. Mississippi ranks as a leader in producing NBA players.
From tiny hamlets like Okolona to the urban setting of Jackson, from shifty guards to dominating big men, Mississippi can ball.
In the 1950s and 1960s, all black Mississippi teams were excelling on a national scale. In 1964, prior to integration, the Jackson Lanier Bulldogs won 44 games, lost none, and averaged 100 points per game, winning a national championship for all black high schools.
30 Richard Williams' integrated Mississippi State team stunned Kentucky for the SEC championship and then went all the way to the Final Four at the Meadowlands.
Mississippi women have been even more successful. Delta State legend Margaret Wade led her Lady Statesmen to 3 consecutive national championships. The fact is, the entire sport of basketball would not be the same without the contributions from Mississippi.
Players like Bailey Howell, Wendell Ladner, Purvis Short, Clarence Weatherspoon, Monte Ellis, and Al Jefferson have become NBA standouts. Legendary coaches McCarthy, Wade, Williams, and Chancellor made an indelible mark on the sport. In 2013, Scott County's Victoria Vivians became the most productive high school scorer in the nation's history. Perhaps Victoria can best explain why Mississippians often grow up shooting at homemade backyard baskets and wind up shooting for the stars.
I don't think I just really realized what was going on, but now that I look back on it, it was great. Being able to accomplish so many things in high school and having like the whole gym filled and cameras everywhere, it just felt great. To be honest, I was just doing it. I didn't know why I was doing it. I was just doing it because I thought I was supposed to do it. And I seen that like every time I did it, I got better and better, so I just kept doing it. I think my life without basketball would be totally different than what it is now, because now I have many people that I know, great opportunities, new places all the time, and without basketball, I don't think I would have been able to experience none of it. Being in Mississippi, I guess it's a great place to live because you just never be too uppity to do anything. You always get down and work hard.
And as special as Victoria is, she's not nearly the first remarkable woman to make her mark on the game. She's merely the next in line, which means she doesn't have to look far for inspiration. Peggy and Jennifer Gillum, Peggy and Jennifer, Lucy Harris, LaToya Thomas, Arminty Price, among so many others have shown the way. They've all shown the way. And then there's the fascinating story of Ruthie Bolton, the 16th of 20 children, born to a Baptist preacher and his wife in Tiny McLean, just south of Hattiesburg. Ruthie, who learned to play on a dirt court with her brothers and sisters, went on to win gold medals in 2 Olympic Games. In 1997, she was one of the 7 original franchise players of the WNBA.
Ruthie isn't alone as an Olympian for Mississippi by a long shot either. Mississippians have won Olympic medals by the dozens. Some of these stories we just couldn't make up.
Ralph Boston from Laurel ranks as one of the greatest long jumpers of all time. In 3 different Olympic Games over a span of 12 years, he won a gold medal, a silver medal, and a bronze medal. In 1960, at the age of 21, Boston leaped a world record 26 feet 11 inches, breaking the last world record of the great Jesse Owens.
As you can see, the story of sports in Mississippi is ground as fertile as the rich black soil of the Delta. We may never know why the connection exists. Luckily, we don't have to know the why, but rather preserve the memory of who.
As you learn about these and other sports legends, remember, they're not locked away in the past. They're simply those who have come before. Somewhere in Mississippi, in some backyard, the next superstar is practicing, imagining his or her moment of greatness to come, working on becoming the best he can be, preparing to take the torch and carry the legacy of the state's inimitable past into the future.